I saw The Space Between Us 2 weeks ago, and even though I've waited so long, there still aren't that many reviews up here, so I'm gonna jump on this right now. And as usual, before we get into the actual film, let's talk about the backstory and the plot for just a little bit. This film was originally going to be produced by Relativity Media, and while it was in the hands of Relativity Media, they brought on the brilliant mind of Peter Chelsom, the acclaimed director of Hannah Montana the movie. The cast was all brought in 2015, as well as the rights being sold to STX. The film originally had a release date in August, but it got pushed back to December, and now we're about a month away from it being released. So, let's get into the plot. The film revolves around a young teen named Gardner, played by Asa Butterfield, who, under unfortunate circumstances, was born on Mars. He lives up there for 16 years, developing a friendship with a girl on Earth by the name of Tulsa. After undergoing surgery and some training, he finally has become able to go to Earth, which he does. The rest of the film focuses on Gardner experiencing Earth along with all of the dangers and pleasures attached. So, what did I think about this film? Well, I'm very confused. First, the positives. Asa Butterfield is one of the best young actors in Hollywood today and turns in a very good performance. Also, the sets are extremely beautiful and aesthetically pleasing, which, although isn't an aspect I care too deeply about, it is something I can appreciate. Also, the premise is genuinely interesting. If someone like a Steven Spielberg had directed this, I would have liked it much more. So by that previous statement, you can probably tell where I'm leaning, so I'm gonna get this out of the way. The film can be summed up, for me at least, in one word: disappointment. So I'm gonna be completely honest with you guys. I was pretty excited for this film. I thought it would look really interesting, and STX has put out some pretty good films in the past year, so I put my trust in this film. Even though it didn't look exquisite, I was pretty excited. However, do you know how critics often say something along the lines of, "There's a good movie in here somewhere"? Well, in this scenario, there are two good movies inside The Space Between Us. One's a lighthearted young adult film, and the other is a very sad story about a boy who feels lost in the world he's in. And with a good balance, you can make a film that incorporates both aspects. However, balance is nowhere to be found. The tone is always at the extreme of either completely depressing or whimsical, and there are no transitions between the jumps, making the film completely tonally inconsistent. If they had stuck with one style over the other, I would have, once again, liked it much more. It just felt like they were trying to cover too many demographics and genres than the story could handle. So, that being said, two other negatives that I have with this film that I feel are rather correlated are the script and the writing of the script, and the acting, aside from Asa. And since I don't know how to put this politely, I'm going to say it as bluntly as possible. This script is written by a 5-year-old. It has all of these cliches and it's just riddled with them, and it's attempting to just make the best movie quotes and be all inspiring, but it just ends up being as cheesy as a stuffed crust pizza. This is an example of how terrible the lines were. The Imaginary does not condone the use of terrible puns or jokes in any circumstance. Now, on to the acting, which I've been avoiding because I have to tear into a very great actor, and one that is considered a legend amongst the film community, Gary Oldman. Guys, he's really trying. He's putting his all into this performance. But that's the issue. This character is written to be a very somber and reserved person, as a scientist who has issues regarding dealing with emotions. Yet Oldman delivers his lines in an extremely emotional way, once again displaying the complete inconsistency of this film. Add that to the fact that most of the lines are extremely inept, and you just get an extremely bad performance. Add in some fecal matter from Britt Robertson and Cara Gugino, and you get a situation where Butterfield can't carry the whole cast through the film. Also, the plot inconsistencies are completely ridiculous. As I mentioned previously, Gardner has to go through the surgery in order to be able to go to Earth. but what the surgery does and how it affects him is never disclosed to the audience. So when problems arise in the future, we're just completely confused. Without going into spoilers, there are a bunch of pivotal scenes and actions taken that were never explained or touched upon again, which was extremely bothersome. Once again, if the writer of this script wasn't the genius behind
I'm time.
I'm a gift, and you're wasting it.
then maybe the outcome would have been different. So overall, what did I think? Well, although Butterfield turns in another great performance, and he keeps turning in great performances, and he almost carried the film on its back, it couldn't. Nothing could. This film has a great amount of potential. A great amount of potential, as I mentioned. However, it got squandered away by people who don't know what they're doing and don't know what they're doing it for. So, all in all, the positives and the negatives, putting them together, I'm going to give this film a C. So this movie doesn't come out for another month, and no one will pay attention to it anyways because they're all gonna go see Rogue One, which comes out on the same weekend. But instead, don't go see either of those films. Go see La La Land, which also comes out on the same weekend. I mean, go see Arrival again. Just make sure not to see this extremely mediocre film, and it's kind of a waste of your time. Alright guys, that is it. I hope you enjoyed my thoughts on The Space Between Us. If you did, like the video, and if you're not subscribed, do that immediately, for there's no reason for you not to be. I would ask you at this point to leave in the comments if you've seen the film. Tell me what you... Oh my god, I burped, sorry. Tell me what you thought, but none of you have seen it, so I can't really ask you of that, can I? But instead, I can tell you what's coming up, and another Netflix should be up. I was gonna do a Disney kind of review thing, but I started writing it and it didn't work for me. A Disney video essay, I mean. Also, I'm going to see Moonlight ASAP. It just came to the theaters around me. So I'm gonna see that as soon as possible, get the review up immediately. So that probably will be the second video coming up next. Also, I might be filming a skit with another friend of mine, but don't quote me on that because I really don't do friends well. And yeah, that's about it. So, have a wonderful rest of your day, and don't forget to let your mind run free in your own imaginarium.